Hello, my dear ones. Well, looks like we're clipping on today trying to get these videos in for you. No, we did a spiritual one first, and I just did the skin video. And I want to do one, I'm going to do one on cancers. We've done a lot of these, but I want to do another one on all cancers because the people are fighting so much with that. And I want to preface this by saying that to understand cancers, you have to step back and start to look at chemistry and physics and what we know is true. Because we live in a world right now where half of the stuff you're taught is just lies, theories, and so we have so many theories. Excuse me. The allopathic community is almost built on theories. A good example was this latest well, it wasn't latest, it was, I don't know, the lymphatic system was discovered, 4 years ago or more. The lymphatic system in the brain from the University of Virginia was just discovered 2 years ago. But this was on Discover Planet. I showed it on the skin one. I want to show it on this one. And this is from Discover Channel. And it says, they'll have to rewrite their textbooks. And what the bottom line is that these two finds, the two lymphatic systems in the brain, which they didn't realize the brain had a lymphatic system because they don't understand what the lymphatic system is or what it does. They think it's part of the immune system, yet they don't even know what the immune system is. It's not even a system. So it's amazing the discoveries that they have found. There was a quote by a physician that he didn't realize that there was any more body parts to find in today's world here. And it talks about, but the true significance of the discovery lies in its ramifications for the study and treatment of neurological diseases ranging from autism to Alzheimer's disease to multiple sclerosis. Kipkins, which is a physician, said researchers no longer need to ask questions such as how do we study the immune response of the brain, or why do multiple sclerosis patients have immune system attacks. You know, one thing he didn't mention here, if he's a physician involved in neurological conditions, is brain lesions. He didn't mention brain lesions because he's not associating the lymphatic system and acids yet and metabolitic waste. That's their next thing they've got to get to. But it says, and this is from Josh Barney, and it's UVA Today. But it's stunning discovery that overturns decades of textbook teaching. Researchers at the School of Medicine have determined that the brain is directly connected to the immune system by vessels previously thought to not exist. I really did not believe there were structures in the body that we were not aware of. I thought the body was mapped. And this Jonathan Kipnis is a professor in the Department of Neuroscience, director of the University Center of Brain Immunology. And it goes on and on and on. It says, because the brain is like every other tissue connected to the peripheral immune system. Boy, do not understand the immune system, nor do they understand the body's need for a sewer system. They don't get that. It's too bad in today's world that we have to live with that. We believe that for every neurological disease that has an immune component to it, these vessels may play a major role. You know, and you see you have a major find like this, and this person is just skirting around it like it was nothing. Major find in that they just have to get with, scratch the immune out and put sewer system and immune system. Yeah. It's not just big science. They've been reporting on this in all kinds of places here, so it's really cool. There have never been a lymphatic system for the central nervous system, and it was very clear from the very first singular observation. And it goes on and on. Get this one. The unexpected presence of the lymphatic vessels raises a tremendous number of questions that now need answers. Guess where they can go to get them? You guys. You guys, they can come here too, because this is where we have the answers for them. Then they can go do their research. But we have the answers already, and we've proved it already by showing how many people can cure themselves from anything. You guys are just incredible, bunch of beautiful beings. And it talks about Alzheimer's, and I talked about this earlier, how Alzheimer's is just nothing but what they call chunks of protein attached to the cell. Remember, when stagnation exists, these proteins or acids adhere to the cell wall. In some immune responses, they like to call these markers. We talked about that at level 2. They call them, these proteins, cell markers. Right. They're not cell markers. They're cell killers. And this is when you get these proteins attaching to a cell and you start losing its impedance or losing its electromagnetic energy, you have an immune response of mucus. So you've got mucus. And then after a while, if the pathway is clear, which that's the problem, is that the lymph pathway is obstructed because it's agglomerated. And so now you can't have the lymphocytes move these cells to the lymph nodes so the macrophages can enjoy that taste. So that's not happening because of stagnation. So tissue is just burning and frying right there. If the lymph systems were open, of course you would never see that in the first place. But if they were, and that's what happens when you detox and open that, then the frying of the cell stops and you can regenerate some of them. Some of them have to be terminated. Okay, big deal, because the body's constantly replacing cells. So it's important. If you have ever been diagnosed with the word cancer, then you have to stop and realize that most people die when they treat the word cancer. That medical doctors have no clue what that word means other than it's a disease that kills cells. And that's stupid. There's only one side of chemistry that kills cells, and that's the acid side of chemistry. That destroys cells, and it comes from the cell itself. The joke of this whole thing when you're diagnosed with cancer is you're dying from your own tissue waste. It's that simple. These are all acids, and cancer is a highly acidic condition. So the first thing to help yourselves out is take the word cancer and give it back to them. Because they don't know what it means. They don't know how to treat it, just to kill more cells. They don't know anything about it. It's an autoimmune problem. There's no such thing as an autoimmune problem. When your immune system can't get to the position or can't do its job, there's blockages in the way. There's obstructions. Well, what could that be? So when you understand the lymph system, the nature of the lymph system, the fact that it's a lipid-based system or a cholesterol-based system, you see cholesterol plaquing when acids start building up and adrenal glands, particularly cortisol, is low. You have to understand life bumps between acid and base constantly. The movement of electrons out of base to the acids is called ionization, but it goes back the other way as well. To a certain point, there is a saturation. We'll talk about it at level 1. But understanding that when acids rule, it's not a good day. The day is acidic, it's inflammation, it's pain, it's swelling, and the body has to do something with all these wastes. The best thing to do is we'll just put them in a storeroom. We'll just put all this waste that can't get through the kidneys and the skin because they're blocked, we'll just store it. And what do we call a storage room for cellular waste? Tumors, cysts, boils and pimples. Although the boils and pimples, they're working their way out to the outside world. Those internal are too deep, so what you have now, they'll work themselves out if you go raw enough. But fixing the kidneys, they'll drain just how they're supposed to. But if you didn't fix the kidneys, you can get a tumor to come out. You know, we have black salves that pull tumors out. I've detoxed people so fast before the kidneys can start filtering, the skin actually opened up and tumors have popped out of my people before. I had a guy that tumor, he started irritating his upper belly button. He kept scratching. Pretty soon it just split and a little tumor popped out. We've seen that several times. So you understand, tumors is of the lymphatic system, of course. When you have a blockage and a buildup, then you have the body trying to protect itself. That's naturally understood. So what's a tumor? It's a pocket of fluid, acidic fluid. So here you have a pocket of raging high acidic fluid that can destroy cells. Would you go in and punch it open to do a biopsy just to see if there's a cancer cell in it or not? Why would you do that? Why would you need to do that? Who cares if there's a cancer cell in there or not? Is everybody freaked out whether you have a cancer cell or not? Be just afraid of a benign tumor as a cancer tumor, let me tell you, because a tumor can wrap around any place, and if there's any cells in the tumor, they're going to be killed. And if they poke it and get a cell, yeah, it's a cancer cell, which is nothing more than a damaged cell. It's past the atypical stage in toward the mutation. And that's a cancer cell. And if you look at them, you can see all the protein that's built or acids that's built up around them and all the immune response to that. It's all right there for people to see, plain as the nose on one's face. So if you're diagnosed with that, you say, first of all, Mr. Medical Doctor, here's your word back, because I don't live in the world of diseases. I live in the world of science. And the two sciences that run creation pretty good, chemistry and physics. Energy and its frequencies, and chemistry and its elements. And it's just, you just have to look at all that and realize there's only two sides to everything. How simple, as complex as God wants it to appear, it has its simplistic side very much so. So when you wake up to a diagnosis of cancer, first of all, you're waking up to kidney failure, to adrenal glands that are down, to a stagnation of the lymph system, which is a sewer system. So basically your sewer system cannot remove the waste from your cells. Same thing would be if I go out and block your septic tank. What are you going to experience inside of your house? Sewage backing up? Stinky, odorous, going to run you out of the house. If it don't, it would kill you in time because of the gases. Absolutely. Kill you. You know, man can't live around sewage and all that implies, from the methane gases and all the other gases. Man can't live around that, can he? That's why it's get it out to the outside world. You don't suppress waste inside the human body. And for any medical person or any practitioner of the art of health to think that everything is just ingestion and there's no elimination, I don't know where your head is. You have ingestion of chemistry, but you have the processing of that chemistry and chemical residues from the processing of that chemistry. You think chemistry just turns to carbon dioxide, well, water and carbon? No. You know, you have different types of chemistry. You do have your carbons, but you have your nitrogens. You have all different types of chemistry. Some cannot be converted and must flatly be eliminated out of the body. Now, we have a whole bunch of friends that a lot of people don't like, but they don't understand them, and that's called bacterium. Your lymph node should be full of bacterium, and any medical doctor that keeps giving these antibiotics that destroy systemic bacteria is sentencing you to death more and more and more. Because they're focusing on the effect, not the cause. And if you kill the bacteria out of your body, it's the same difference as me going to your house, opening up your septic tank and killing your bacteria. I'll give you about 3 days, and when you flush the toilet, it's going to all be in your house again, because no one's breaking down the solids in your septic tank. Because you just killed them. Well, what's the difference in the human body? Doesn't your car have an exhaust system? See, that's what gets me. And when I started thinking about this and looking at this, I said, they don't even consider the elimination of waste. Matter of fact, there was one paper that suggested, and this is from the University of Virginia, I think, or at least the person that discovered the lymph, was they thought that wastes were removed esoterically, and then other people don't think there is waste in the brain, and blah, 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 and it's like, What? And what does your immune system have to do with tissue byproducts? So when you're diagnosed with cancer, you're simply diagnosed with your kidneys are not filtering, your adrenals are down, your lymph fluids are constipated, you're backed up, and now your blowback is to the cell. And where you're genetically weaker, they're already in trouble. So they're going to go first. So you're going to see all your hot spots. Now, on top of that, you're going to take chemo or radiation. So basically what they're saying to you is, we don't know what the hell is causing this, but we're going to fry your tissues up until we get it. And of course, we're going to cause a lot more cancer cells by doing this, but yeah, you know, we're going to help you live a little longer. The stupidity of that is unbelievable, because no one should ever die from cancer. Ever, 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 ever. Especially if you understand what it is. You first get diagnosed. You're only getting diagnosed from a pathologist that you have mutating cells. Your cells are being damaged. The first, oh, you know what? My lymph system's down. My kidneys must not be filtering them. I'm too acidic. So the first time when you realize that cancer is nothing but an acid condition internally, what's the first thing you want to look? What are you eating? What kind of chemistry are you bringing into your body? Most chemistry that people eat are acid-forming chemistry. Animal products are acid-forming. Anything nitrogen-rich is acid-forming. So your grains, your beans, you know, all these processed foods are acid-forming. Anything that was base that's now processed can move from base to acid. A lot of foods that are base in its original state now becomes acidic, of course, in its processed or cooked state. Look at tomatoes. Now, tomatoes might be a little acidic to begin with, but cook them and look what happens to them. They'll click the aluminum right out of your pan. You know, so that's what we're talking about. And imagine this level of acidosis in your body. So then you have a crazy group giving you Drano to try to do what? See, when your kidneys shut down and you can't filter anymore, correlate that along with your blood work and your creatinine levels. And as they creep up, anything above 0.5 in the creatinine is climbing. 0.6, okay, not so bad, I'm climbing. 0.7, don't like that. 0.8, nope, getting in big time trouble. That's how close that is they don't get. Because some labs have 1.35 the other day I saw as a high in normal in creatinine. When you hit that, you're in deep trouble. You are definitely not filtering, but you are breaking down kidney tissue at an alarming rate. You cannot filter at 0.5, 0.4, but when the kidneys start going down from that, boom. And that's not good. Then you can't pee at all. Everything swells, and then you've got dialysis to think about, and then that's toxic, and then you really start losing your kidneys. It's all crazy talk when everything can be regenerated. If you feel a swelling and you think it's a little tumor, put yourself immediately on a detox, fix your kidneys, get it filtering, get those adrenals up, clean your bowels out, and that'll be gone. But we wait and we wait and we go and we get biopsies and we play, and then pretty soon what was a little pea now is a large tumor. They've done biopsies and they did radiation to see if they blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I can fry a tumor and reduce it in size, but I'm not going to radiate it out of your body. They'll tell you that. Well, you just not only burnt the tumor, you burnt the whole tissue around it and everywhere else. So now you just created more cells for the tumor to get back bigger again. And that's what happens. They go down because you burn them and then they explode. But no, wait. You burn other tissue and that becomes more cancer cells. Just remember, a cancer cell is nothing more than a damaged cell. Slick words. Confusing words, just like law. They use confusing words to mess with the folk. And you know what? We don't need that anymore at this level on this planet. What we need is honesty and integrity. Not let me come up with some words where I can get them really good on words they don't understand. Like individual in law means corporation. Who in the hell would think an individual in law means a corporation? Ugh. That's how they like it. And it's like, why? It just brings karma to everybody, so why even go to that trouble? Anyway, great find. I love this. I love Discovery Channel because, you know, putting light on a lot of things, but this one needs a lot of light because man's survival is based upon either getting rid of the AMA or getting them up to speed because the death rate is climbing from those guys. So it's time that we all kick back and go, you know what, no ego involved, this is what we have to do. You guys are finding a system that we've known about for 50 years. We've known a lot more about it in the last 25 than anyone ever has, and we've proved this by working on humans and being able to reverse everything and regenerate them. So let's take a look at it together. Instead of being a top killing machine, let's become the top saving machine of the planet. But I don't know, where that is in the process of God and what it expects for this dimension of creation, in that way. So no matter where your diagnosis is, and you don't always have to have tumors. Look at leukemias. Leukemias, some people don't think they're cancers, others think they're cancers. Anytime you have a cell that's damaged, that's a cancer. Cancer isn't about tumors. Cancer is about damaged cell. That's exactly what it is. And just no MD can tell you that you have cancer and be spot on, can they? Who can tell you that? Who can be spot on when they tell you that? Not a surgeon, pathologist, because he's going to stain the cell and he's going to take a look at its morphology and see what level it's been damaged. At a certain level, they call it a cancer cell. Stupid name for a process of extreme acidosis that can literally dehydrate you and chew you or burn you up, basically is what it is. Some of you are so hot inside you can feel it, yet you're cold. But you can feel the burn. You can feel your body's really hot. And that's acidosis. And the only way to cool that one down is hydration. And hydration is a base chemistry experience. Electrolytes and the like. Getting the kidneys to filter. You can pour good chemistry in on top of bad, so to speak. But if your kidneys and the road to this is blocked, nothing's going to happen there either. And that's what happens. You end up peeing out your electrolytes, and stagnation continues to exist. This is why the big mamas of the lipids are better at this in terms of neutralization of acids. But in hydration, we need our electrolytes. I don't know if you said to me which, and I'm going to use only using the medical terminology for just so you guys can understand, when we're talking about damaged cells. I don't know which level's the worst. I'll say this, the further from the kidneys you see tumors and damaged cells, the harder it is, because the further away you are. Everything closer, just like a drain, when you open up a drain, everything close to it goes in first and everything farther away comes in later. Because that's just basically what you're doing. When you open your kidneys, you're pulling the plug on the kidneys, and now you get drainage. And look at some of these. Pictures. I mean, we have some here. These are old pictures, but we also have some new ones from Hildy. But we also have our old standard pictures we had years ago. People made up for us. Beautiful stuff. See all that sewage in the bottom of the cup? All that white stuff in the bottom of the cup? Boy, if you have clear urine, you're in trouble. Pee in a jar, take a look at your urine. If it's clear, you're in trouble. And you're going to have to get that fixed. Well, how do you fix a clogged drain? So in the body, clogging takes place under the acid side of chemistry. So the first and foremost thing is you get on the base side of chemistry. Well, what foods are base chemistry? Fruits, berries, melons, and most, not all, but most vegetables. And not all fruit is base forming either. So you look for the base forming foods. Now of those, you want the foods that will astringe or start to move you quicker and hydrate you quicker. So obviously you're looking for more water-rich fruits, berries, melons. Vegetables, you have to leave them alone. They're okay once in a blue moon, a salad and all that, but we've talked a great deal about the design of a human body over the design of a cow, a horse, a herbivore. Big differences. So understanding a salad is a cheat. That your main staple is fruits, berries, and melons. When you start on that, they have high vitamin C components, flavonoid components, excellent for healing. They have astringent properties. They're the highest electricity of all the foods, so they're electrical. They turn everything on. So everything starts getting hydrated, turned on, kidneys start filtering. You cannot do that with any other food source on the planet. And we all learned that from fasting on vegetable matter years ago. It was the veggies. The veggies. It's like, veggies are not human foods. They're herbivore foods. We're frugivores. We're primate-ish. We're fruits, berries, and we can do the melons. We can do veggie fruits, like the cucumbers and the avocados and things like that, of course. But when you wake up to a diagnosis of tumors and things like that, I would rethink about biopsy. You're talking about a sac of highly acidic fluid. Doesn't matter if it has damaged cells in it or not. Your body, once you open up the lymph system, that pocket's going to open up and slowly move all that acidic fluid and any damaged cells right out and right out through the lymph nodes and out your kidneys. How beautiful is that? Right now, your body's holding it to the side. You never die of tumors unless that tumor's blocking your bowels, a bile duct, or whatever, yes. But you can have a tumor pretty big. Remember that 303-pound ovarian cyst we talked about years ago? The lady had a 303-pound ovarian cyst. It was like 3 men on her. Big, huge thing. And they had to lay her on a dolly. They laid the tumor on a dolly while they cut it off, or cyst. So you see where I'm going with this is important, and you can view our other videos on cancer, but it's important to understand that word belongs to the AMA, and they can have it. It's a wrong word, giving wrong ideas and wrong opinions, and they don't even understand. It's all autoimmune. You never want to live with the idea of autoimmune, because that puts you back in a leaf blowing in a wind. You'll never have your power. You'll never get strong. You'll never overcome this yourself, and you'll rely on people that don't know anything about what they just diagnosed to give you toxic chemicals that they don't know anything about either. So this is very serious stuff. And I know some of you don't like to hear me talk that way, but it's like, I'm sorry, you've got a very serious problem. You don't see the deaths maybe we do, and you don't see the people that have been maimed the way we do. We see them by the thousands. And pretty soon it's like enough's enough already, guys. You got to wake up sometime, and the waking up is here. Thanks to you guys, you bunch of beautiful, beautiful souls. Never fear the word cancer. Understand what it means, and then simply go after it. And how you go after is understand that simply you are damaging the cells in your body by your own metabolitic waste. Why? Because you've eaten bad acidic foods, high protein foods, dairy products, and you have acidified, clogged, inflamed your body, particularly kidneys, bowels, etc., etc. We are a food processor, plain and simple, but we're only designed to process certain foods. We put everything down this food processor, and some have really bad chemical residues. Look at fruits and berries and melons. They leave very little chemical residues and clean it out with themselves. Look at starch. They leave impactions, and they're not self-cleansing. So the beautiful, and you can see this on yourself. Go on a raw food diet and look at what happens to your stool. You don't have to wipe because it's clean. Your periods for the females are down to hardly nothing. Everything smells better. Your arms don't stink. That's just putrefied protein if you can smell yourself. You shouldn't stink as a human. So I know someone was talking about one time to the primates, the humans really stink bad. But it's enough to say no matter where your stagnation is, and you're more stagnated in some areas than in other areas. The other good one, I love this one, is your cancer just moved on you. We gave you a lot of chemotherapy and radiation, but look, your cancer just moved on you. Cancer doesn't move like that. Cancers damage cells from a fluid-based system. So the fluid-based system is systemic, head to toe. So when you're not filtering your lymph system, you actually are creating a stagnation of a fluid that is from the top of your head down to your bottom of your feet. And the first time you start to see symptoms of that is skin problems, as we just talked about, skin conditions, but you also see dandruff. You start to see things on the skin that the skin now is struggling to clean out. And now the kidneys aren't filtering well, the skin's got to bear a big load. Well, if your thyroid is good, you'll start to see a lot of sweating, excessive sweating. When you go to bed at night and you wake up in the morning, you sweated real hard, that means your kidneys are not filtering and your skin did it for you. Thank you. But when your skin is down and your kidneys are down, you can't think of much worse. You're going toward death row. And it's a long, long, painful, and very depressing and unhappy death, too. As opposed to feeling really good and vital on fruits, berries, and melons, getting your kidneys filtering, get all this sewage out of there. There's no inflammation, there's no pain, there's no swelling, there's no agglomeration, so there's no tumors or cysts, no boils or pimples. Now that's health. And you just have to realize we've been burning dirty fuels. If you blame anything else for your cancers, then that's your problem or their problem, because they're looking at the cause of everything right in their face. It's right in their face. Or should I say it's in the face of dietitians. Boy, what a miserable field. I feel sorry for dietitians because they have no clue. They've been educated so wrongly, and it's the foods are the main problem. I mean, many of you have been in the hospitals where you had to stay overnight or something and you saw the food they brought you. Even in ICU, I told you about this young man that we saved him in the morning, but an ICU killed him because they gave him a barbecued, this is a post-MI heart attack, they gave him 43 years old, they gave him a barbecued beef sandwich and french fries after we just pulled him out of myocardial infarction in the morning, and then that afternoon for lunch, about 2 o'clock, he's eating a barbecued beef sandwich and french fries. I about lost it. I couldn't believe it. I went up to visit him and he was eating on a bar. I said, "What are you doing?" So he died that afternoon and no one could save him. You know why no one could save him? Because they didn't know how to save him. And they were perpetuating his death. When you just had a myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack, everything is vibrating and spastic, and you're going to eat a spicy meat, first of all, which would make it even have a greater heart attack, and then you're going to have that on a bun, which sets up putrefaction and fermentation, and you're going to have greasy french fries, and you gave that to a young man that just had a heart attack? Woo! They just killed that guy right off. And this is the deaths that they're killing that's not recorded as deaths killed by them, by the way. So how many are those out there? It's a mess. And if you want to live, and you want to be healthy, and you want to be happy, you change your diet and get your body detoxed and cleaned up, get your kidneys filtering. Then you can balance out, get you a diet that you can live with that's not going to acidify you right back, and get yourself in a happy place. And by eating fruits, berries, and melons, once you get over this ego and, oh, I can't change, and you change that, and you go, I will change because now I'm a greater vehicle for God. I know more about life. I understand more about life. Then your quality of your expression goes way up. And that's what it's about, the quality of your expression. I mean, just think of the things that you can have fun and do, and yet some people are confined to houses or beds. Hildy, confined to a bed almost when I met her. Several of you were confined to beds that I met you that are not now confined to beds. I still remember our Skype appointments. Rita, another good example, sweetie. You just kick butt. I mean, you guys are so great. And you've been through hell, pain, and suffered beyond belief, and now you got your life back, and I'm proud of you, and you've proved to the world that it is highly doable, and you did it. So again, So for those of you that have cancers, don't freak out. Don't let them freak you out. Don't get confused. Now's the time to get clarity. Because if not, a lot of people are getting confused because they pull the panic or fear button, because these jokers have people so full of fear about something they don't even understand. They don't even understand the lymph system. They're just now finding pieces of it. And we trust our lives to these people. I wouldn't. I'd rethink. And then there's a whole bunch of these people. These are oncologists that are giving chemo to people that don't even need it. Horrible. Horrible. That was what, $100 billion a year business. This guy did a good job on this article. But it's horrible. It's just, what happened to love and all the good stuff? I understand the need to have, when a kid's playing, they play Cowboys and Indians, or they play whatever, I mean, life changes for all of us. When I grew up, you were either a cowboy or Indian one day and a cowboy and Indian the next. I used to write plays and get the kids in the town to come and put it on for the parents. I don't know, I thought I was going to be an actor when I grew up. But so I love to write plays, and I used to write Native American plays because I always loved Native Americans. Oh, that reminds me of any of you guys out there that build dome homes. Let me know, because I have a little project for some Native Americans, and it's through the dome home experience. Buckminster Fuller. Anyway, I love you guys. And for those that are just tuning in, if you're diagnosed with the C word, you want to understand what cancer is. You want to understand your lymphatic system, which is your main immune system. And understand your immune system is a simple system. You got damaged cells. You have immune cells that takes those cells through the lymph system, not through the blood system. That's impossible. Through the lymph system to the lymph nodes where macrophages are, and bacteria, by the way. And that bacteria breaks down these cellular acids, which are about 3 pH. Remember, cellular wastes are ranging about 3 pH. This is why if you can't get these cellular metabolitic wastes to the lymph nodes, you're going to feel 3 pH internally. That's why you don't want to get too many bacteria internally, because they'll have a heyday. That's their job, is to break down these acids for you so you're not on your knees peeing them out. If you think about how the body is designed, it becomes pretty cool. Because you have a major sewer system in there, just like your house, with bacteria, but you have it even better. You have immune cells there, macrophages, that destroy other buildings, other cells. So it's convenient, and then of course you urinate the waste, or you sweat the waste out. Very few go through the stool, be honest with you. Most of that's digestive waste. But digestive waste can be very acidic as well. You can feel it leaving. So again, what you eat is everything, and you have to sit back and realize that there's different species on this planet. And of the vertebrate type of species on the planet, there's only 4 basic vertebrates. There's your omnivores, which is your dogs, hogs, bears, and chickens. Most omnivores have a lean toward the vegetarian cuisine as opposed toward the protein side. And you can watch Discovery Channel and see that. It's quite apropos. Then you have your true carnivores. That's your cats. They are the true carnivores. Totally designed differently in the gut and everywhere else. No rings, no ribs, straight, smooth, blah, 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 blah. Teeth are different. Everything's different. And all these vertebrates have different body parts. They're designed differently. You have your herbivores. They're your horses, elephants, rhinoceroses, giraffes. These animals are designed differently than humans, aren't they? Then you have your primates. These are not omnivores. These are frugivores, and we are designed very similar to them. We're even different than the primates. We're even a more refined species. So we should even be on fruits and berries, period. That's our cuisine. But we decided to kill some of the other vertebrates and eat them. Not in the thought of things, but man migrated out of his islands into his northern climates and became a violent species. And that's just what happened to us. We're a very violent species. Primates are not near as violent as we are in a lot of cases. It's amazing, but they can be violent. Well, it's enough to say that I hope you understand this whole world of cancers. Whether it's and let's look at leukemia for a minute. Leukemia, white blood cells and platelets. Okay, you're talking about two different tissues: the spleen or the bone marrow. Now, either one can become acidic and break down, and both of these tissues have the same issue: blood and lymph. Blood brings in the goodies, lymphatic cleans the waste away. Now, to understand, this process is going on everywhere in your body. We're feeding you, then we're cleaning the waste away. We're feeding you, we're cleaning the waste. We have two different fluids that do that. Our blood comes in and feeds you. Our lymph fluids, which is 80% of the interstitial fluid, it's only 20% of interstitial fluid. That's a fluid around a cell. Only 20% blood. So when you get a juicy pimple and pop it, you see 20% blood and 80% lymph. That's what you see in tumors. It's interstitial fluid. It's all it is. It's stagnation because of a lack of elimination. And the one thing is for sure is that proteins is the big problem. It's the number one damager of kidneys is proteins. It's what we see in Alzheimer's. It's what we see everywhere. And they're always making that comment. What about these big chunks of proteins attached to the cell? Well, eat more protein then. But most of these are metabolitic acids that form proteins, absolutely. But that's what they are. And as a rule, a lot of people call acids proteins. It's enough to say, though, when you see it every time, and that's the problem, why do you keep recommending high-protein diets? When man is not a high-protein creature. His size doesn't donate it. Nothing about him donates a high-protein diet. Only one animal, and even them, have a hard time with high-protein diets. Your cats, you got to be real careful about too high of a protein. They like pre-digested vegetable matter, which is in gut tissue. So even the carnivores need some pre-digested amino acids instead of proteins because they have to do the same thing our body does. And they don't have a lot of time to do it because they have a non-ribbed GI tract that's smooth. In and out, baby. Get it out before it putrefies. Because us who have long intestinal tracts, we eat dead animals. It's like, oh, it sounds like, smells like that dead animal didn't get out of me. And it's enough to say that you guys are doing really well. And I really appreciate all your love and support. I can't wait till the Costa Rica thing gets going. We got a class coming up in 1 week. 5 days. Hang on for 5 days. Because it's a class. My God, the outline to that class is that thick. I just finished it and gave it to Shannon over the weekend. We had it mostly done, but a few little places. And it's like, holy crap, that's almost like a book is just the outline. So we'll have some fun. But it's enough to say that for those that are suffering with the cancer word, it's all very curable. And especially if you don't sit there and mess around with ridiculous thinking, like I'm going to treat this with Drano. I'm going to give myself an acid that literally destroys almost every cell it comes in contact with, and then I can carry this acid in me for months, if not years. And that, what's my goal in doing that? I trust the medical doctors to know what they're doing? Wrong. That one you'll never want to do. That one will be your biggest mistake you make. Matter of fact, that's why we say don't even trust us. Get the facts. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. In other words, look at this. Take a look at it yourself. Figure it out like it's a jigsaw puzzle. Look at the body. Cells. Two fluids. Acid and base chemistry. I get it. Understand the nature of the base. Understand the nature of the acids. One's female, one's male. Look at the females. Most of them full of love, joy, happiness, except the medical oncologists and things are cold. They've lost their joy. They've lost their beauty. They've lost it. They give chemo to kids and they walk with straight faces. Cold. Bad, bad karma. You don't want to be that way. You want to be a beautiful soul that emanates the light and love that you feel, and then the joy that you feel from existence, because you're basically free to do anything you want. Of course, we live in governments and controls and things like this, but we created all that ourselves. Man has a hard time wanting to be free, believe it or not. Anyway, no matter what cancer it is, where the location is, it simply has a precursor of inflammation, which is acidosis. And when you see inflammation, it is simply acidosis on the outside of a cell. When acids are starting to build up around a cell, that means you have lymph stagnation. Nothing's pulling these acids away. So that means you have to look down that pipeline of the lymph system from the cell and see what's going on. What could be blocked down there? Lymph nodes are blocked. Yeah, they're swollen. What's on the other side of the lymph nodes? Oh, the kidneys. Genetics. And yeah, absolutely. I rarely, and how many eyes do you think I do? Rarely do I not see a kidney weakness. And always an adrenal gland weakness. I've never seen an eye that did not have an adrenal gland weakness. I've seen some that have very little, that have a lot of lymph there, but I've never seen one that had no problems with their adrenal glands, ever. So that shows you how bad that is. So, you know, when you're looking at this, I was doing a radio show. Oh God, it has to be 10 years ago here. I ran a radio show for a couple of years here, and I got to the point where I ran out of things to talk about because it is quite simple. So I just put my clients up on there to tell their story, you know. And where was I going with that? I was talking about the lymph system with that, and I can't remember where I was going with that. Oh well. Some of it comes in and some of it goes out. I don't know. But it's enough to say you really want to understand the lymphatic system. You want to understand what acids are, what metabolitic wastes are, and ask yourself, how does the body get rid of it? If you want to go to the medical journals, you're going to already conditioned thinking. You're going into other people's opinion, and there's no answers in there. I've read a lot of medical journals. There's no answers there for anybody. Even the Townsend newsletter is a little weird. So you got to be real careful. I look at all these things and it's just the same old story. There is some good stuff in places. The Townsend newsletter has some good stuff in it now and then. But then I get the Mayo Clinic report. I get all these clinic reports, and the stupidity is way up there. Because I like to see what the Mayo Clinic come up to Cleveland. I like to see what's going on in these people and how they think. Whoa. I mean, you just can't, you have to get smart yourselves. Learn this yourselves. It's so simple. Learn how to get yourself well, and then go after this. When you're diagnosed with a tumor or cells that are being damaged, get very serious. I don't care if you're a male or a female. It doesn't take long, especially when you're first diagnosed. Then if you get right to it, 2 or 3 months down the way, maybe 4 months down the way, you should be clean and green. You wait too long and you've got one like this, might not be able to save you. That's bad. Why wait? No medical, nobody, we all shouldn't let any woman go through this. It rips your heart apart. Because you can get her early on. And I had a beautiful woman from the East Coast. She's from Miami or somewhere. One of the, sorry Brian, but one of your educators brought her over here from your place. And she had a little pea-sized tumor in her breast. Pea-size. And I told her that is as easy as you can get. Matter of fact, 1 month that should be gone. That's a piece of cake. Well, her husband was going on and on about medical and chemo and stuff. I'm going, what? What would a little bitty thing like this? You're just now getting ahead. This is the time to get them. You get them out. You take care of the kidneys. You never have a problem again. You're good and green. Well, I didn't see her for a long time, and when this educator brought some more people over here, he told me that she had died. She had accepted chemo and radiation because her husband made her do it. Well, this is my word to you, husbands and wives. Don't let your mate make you do anything you don't want to do. That's not fair to you. It's not fair to your mate. If your mate works out of fear, then you have to sit them down and educate them. Because it's your life, your journey, your karma, it's your suffering, it's your everything. And I know you ladies are sweet and compassionate and you do a lot for your men, but there's some things you don't want to do for your men, and that is kill yourself. So you don't want to do those things. No male's worth it. No matter how much you're attached to that. You want to get your own joy back and fix your cells, because it doesn't take much to get these tumors out in their smaller stages. The bigger, the harder, the job. But so just remember, you have only so many tissues in the body, and most is all designed in a food processing machine and the eliminations of the waste from that. If you look at the body, that's what it is. A neurological system that turns things on and off, and a glandular system that controls all that. If you get too deep, like since they don't know anything up here, they're now into genes. You don't have a gene to detoxify. Your gene is for this is gone. Your gene for that's gone. Do not fall into that insanity. That's way beyond them. And it's not beyond you to understand spiritually why the genes and this whole RNA, DNA matrix with the chromosomes and all this, how that all can get damaged and changed through your consumption of food and through your inability to move waste out of the body. How that can morphidize or change the structure of a cell and have that replication stuck in genetic memories. You have to understand how creation is put together, and we talk about that at level 1. How this all takes place and how you also reverse that and pull the cell back into its consciousness, its original consciousness, and make a healthy, vital cell out of it. Some cells are too far gone. To the lymph nodes. Out you go in a new one base. But you've got to start building on good bases. And your good bases is fruits, berries, melons. Occasional salad's okay. But never treat your cancers. That whole idea, the whole concept is idiocy, and it's killing people rapidly. I mean, it's beyond. It's staggering to believe. I've talked to souls that couldn't believe that this is happening here on this planet like this. It's staggering. It's like whoa, and it's just a mess. And what I love about you guys is you're learning. You're willing to learn. You're willing to take your power back. You're willing to understand what's causing this and to apply the techniques to get yourself well. And these are the techniques nature uses. You're right in with the God side of life. That's all the God side of life, but some of it's a little twerky, way out there in Never Land. So I don't know. But you don't ever want to fight, because liver cancer, pancreatic cancer are all easier cancers. Now, I'm using their word cancer, meaning if you have a tumor or you have damaged cells in the liver, easy to turn that around and fix it. We've lost hardly any in the world. I don't even know of any liver, but pancreatic, I don't remember any. But there are some people that haven't made it. We once in a while get someone that has bowel, liver, and maybe a lung or something. They did the chemo and radiation. Their bodies are just ravished with acids to where they're emaciated to nothing. Hard to save those, to be honest with you. I've helped some YouTubers save a couple of them, and of course we saved some. But when you get yourself too advanced, you might as well just take off and leave, because you're done here. You've not done anything to help yourselves. And that's the point, is you can't trust in others in creation. There's only one to trust, and that's the self. Because the self, at the most deepest level, is God. When you look at your mate, and you look deep within those eyes, and you ask, who's behind those eyes? God is. That's how God sees and experiences its creation. How does an infinite being experience the finite? Through each and every one of its expressions. Through each and every one of its expressions. Well, I love you guys. I think I'm going to cut off here. I know there's a lot more to talk about cancer and things like that, but there isn't. Because there's only one walkway. There's only one gold road to Wellville when you wake up to things like this. And that is, you simply reverse how you created it. Now, Keep in mind, genetics sit on top of that, and you're in a genetic pool. But outside of that, you're the one living the lifestyle, eating the different foods and stuff, and it's just time we wake up to the fact that certain foods are not meant for human consumption. We eat them, but they weren't meant for human consumption, and the byproduct of that, the residue kick from them, can be strong. We've lost our GI tract and our kidneys from these high protein and high dairy diets. And until we change that, you're going to continue to grow tumors and lose your kidneys and things like this. It's just a fact of life. When we get off of those foods, guess what happens? You reverse everything. Right there shows you. Right there shows you that when you stop eating those type of foods and you go on fruits management, your health comes back. What was that? See what I'm saying? When you can have any condition out there, excuse me, reverse it and rebuild on certain foods, and you take a look at your lifestyle and said, well, I've been eating all these, that's what's created your problem. We live in real, chemistry's real, energy's real, and when you don't have it is when you really appreciate it. So that's a problem. But understanding the beauty of fruits and the deliciousness of fruits and the deliciousness of berries and good melons. Oh my God. I think I just heard that Sam's, which is part of Walmart, right, just got in a big shipment of big melons. So guess where my butt's going? Right down to Sam's and loading up my truck with watermelon. I gotta have some water. I have navel orange juice. I still have it, but I need some good watermelon. Oh, some good watermelon. You know how watermelon loves you so much? It tastes good. It flushes the kidneys, flushes the bowels. These type of foods love you and will love you and make your body feel so light and so good, so quick with the brain, just really good stuff. Pulls out all the tumors, cleans out all the acids and the wastes. Once you get it, you've got it. And simplicity should rule the day. You know, when something seems so complex, back away and start to ask yourself the simplistic side of life. Because right now, with all that's going on in the negative side, it's time to just sit back and let simplicity and God work through you. And then things can get done. Well, I love you guys. If you have any questions related to these two videos, let us know. And I'm going to do more. I think the next video, I will do it on, let's do it on fibromyalgia, lupus, Lyme's, arthritis. All the same stuff. Let's talk about those, because a lot of you are suffering from all of these, or an abbreviation of all those. And these are not difficult to turn around. The same type of thing goes in every case here. It's funny that I think the biggest difference that makes people believe in diseases is the different locations and symptomologies for that. Makes you think that everything is different. But that's how God fooled you in the first place with creation, that everything looks different, yet everything comes from the one. And it's how they fooled you with diseases, because everything looks different, but it comes from the one. And when you're at the point where you can back away from the complex and look at the simplistic, it's your time. You made it. You made it. It's a hard draw for a lot of people to pull out of the complex and go into the simplistic. It's going to be real hard, but we have to. Because the more complex, the more lost you get. The mind can take you on rides very long and very deep and be gone for quite a few lifetimes. So, till the next video, I love you guys. Keep it up. Hope to see a lot of you at class here. I'm excited about this class. It's a big 5-dayer though, so it's that's a lot of days out there hammering it. But The first 2 days we got a lot of academics, but I'm going to try to make it all feel good and relax and everything like that. But I am going to teach you a little bit about how chemistry works on this planet, how physics works, things like that. Understanding a little ionization, how we get hydration, why edema exists, how that works, and understanding. So you'll start to, oh, this is how it all works, and you start to see how it's all put, how God put it all together. That's fun stuff. Till then. Love you guys.